Welcome to the Off Leash podcast with Dr. Pete. I am your co-host, Molly Van Vranken. We're so glad that you joined us for today's show. Remember, we are not here to say what you want us to say. We are just here to be an advocate for your pet.
I agree.
And
go ahead.
Dr. Pete woke up this morning with something on his mind that he wanted to share that we've talked about before, but...
Yeah. Well, here's what I wanted to talk about today. I want to start putting things in perspective in regards to, as veterinarians, what we try to prevent or treat or both. And I think it's one of our things, prevent the preventable, then you don't have to treat the treatable. And I'll give you an example of that. An example of that would be Parvo.
Wait, before you get into this, can I tell what kind of stemmed from this? You at VMX. So when people were coming up to you at VMX and asking you about copper storage disease.
Well, they weren't asking me. We were telling
having
them,
a conversation,
Yeah. So
about copper storage disease. And they were like, well, I never see this. And you started throwing out, well, how many Parvo cases do you see a year? How many Lyme cases do you see a year? How many?
Well, that's kind of what I'm going to get at here. I'm going to tell you how many, in the United States of America, how many cases of this we see and how many cases we treat. So where Parvo is concerned, there may be more cases than are reported, but the ones that are reported are about 333,000.
Do you have to report a Parvo case?
No, you don't have to report.
Okay, so I have a question. Who are you reporting to?
We don't report to anybody. You know, they do surveys and enough people answer surveys, and then they sort of extrapolate the numbers out from there.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of what they do. And so really what happens is if you don't vaccinate your dog till your dog's 14 weeks or 15 weeks or 19 weeks for distemper and Parvo, you may get you won't get distemper probably, but you'll probably get Parvo, or there's a damn good chance you'll get Parvo.
But the amount of dogs that actually get Parvo nowadays are so slim compared to
what they used to be.
When did I work in your clinic? 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 16.
And there were a ton of them.
And I remember there was always dogs in the Parvo room. Always. And it was a big thing. You had to go in there. You had to wash your hands. Like people that went in the Parvo room could not be in contact with other dogs.
We had an isolation ward. That's correct. So that we didn't spread it to anybody else in the clinic. And we did a good job with that. And what we really did a good job was vaccinating our way out of this. So that's what we've done as a society, as a pet owning society.
Was there a Parvo vaccine back then?
No, Parvo, it was a vaccine, and Parvo came on the scene at about the same time. Although there was not enough vaccine when Parvo finally hit. It was like you got up one day and it was here.
Do you think Parvo's not going to be a thing one day?
No, I think it'll always be a thing.
Okay. Continue. I was just curious.
I think distemper's still a thing, but you got to go to certain parts of the country to find it.
Okay. And remind me if I'm incorrect. When I worked at your clinic, I don't remember seeing a lot of distemper.
No, you don't see it.
Okay.
No. You see it in certain parts of the United States, but just not here in this state. And we vaccinated our way out of that too.
Okay.
So we used to see those every week, every month. You know, you probably had 3 or 4 a month. And that was a small practice. Mm-hmm. So you saw them, and then what you did is you vaccinated your way out of it. And then Parvo came along. And unvaccinated dogs, Parvo killed them before they had a chance to get distemper. So that sort of limited distemper all in its all inside of it. So, and then when we first started seeing Parvo, we saw all sorts of it. And we saw it in older dogs, younger dogs, everything. Now we just mostly see it in young dogs because older dogs have been vaccinated. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, I'll see an adult dog, 5 or 6 year old dog with Parvo.
Very rare.
Yeah, and they may have been vaccinated, but the pet's just immunologically incompetent and can't take the vaccine and seroconvert and protect itself.
Okay.
So when you get a flu vaccine, it doesn't mean it's going to work on you.
It means that it's
damn good chance it'll work on you.
Yeah.
Or if you do get it, you will get it and not get very sick.
Okay.
So let's just look at it like this: 333,000 Parvo cases.
333,000 Parvo cases a year
in the United States
in 2025.
Oh, that's what the latest figures say. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't tell you when it's probably 2024 because it takes a
broaden the picture. How many dogs are there in the U.S.?
90 million.
It's a lot of dogs. Yeah, that's not a lot of Parvo cases.
No, so it's 90 million. If I can tell you that's one out of about every 270 or 280 dogs. And
I mean, it's a big number, but it's compared to how many dogs in the U.S., it's not that big of a number.
No.
Okay.
So 90. Let's just pick 90,000. There may be 95,000. But just for the sake of math, let's pick 90,000. So it's one out of every, whatever that is, it's 270, I guess, one out of every 270 dogs. So
what can you do the math percentage in your head of how many dogs get Parvo a year?
Well, that's less than 1%.
Okay. So Parvo. Not very many dogs get it. What about
less than 0.5%?
Okay. Distemper.
Distemper, don't see hardly any of that anymore.
Do you have a number for me?
Nope.
How many dogs?
Nope.
Okay.
I came with numbers today, and that's not one of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Give me another number.
Well, the number, what it's going to cost you to treat that dog? Okay. Anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 to
for a Parvo?
To treat the dog and make them live. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do outpatient stuff. Does it work very well? No, not very well, but you could do it.
Yeah.
And people, and usually in our business, responsible people have responsible problems, and irresponsible people have irresponsible problems. So not everybody, and some people can go get qualified for care credit or something like that and spend the $3,000 or $4,000 or $2,000 or whatever $1,000 it is. So it's minuscule what it costs you to vaccinate a dog versus what it's going to cost you if your dog gets it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, let's move on to the next one, which would be heartworm disease.
Okay.
Just over 1 million cases a year get diagnosed.
So 90. So what would the percentage be?
Yeah, it's 1.3%. 1.2%. Yep.
So 90 million dogs, 1 million Parvo cases, or not Parvo, sorry, heartworm.
1.1.
1.1.
And so out of 90,000 dogs, I think that's about.
You're a mental math person. I'm not. Don't ask me to do mental math.
1.2%. So do we see that? I don't think we see that much in our place anymore. I mean, I think we treat 25 or 30 dogs a year and we check thousands of them.
Was heartworm at one point in time much more prevalent?
Yeah, we treat 200 or 300 cases a year at our place.
Okay, so how many was that, do you think, total in the U.S. dogs that would get it?
Back then I couldn't tell you because I don't have those numbers. I have today's numbers.
Okay.
1.1 million. What's it going to cost to treat? What's it going to cost to treat a heartworm dog? Well, if you're using Barrier, which is the topical moxidectin and doxycycline, it's less than $200. But if you're going the way almost everybody goes, which is the way the American Heart Society tells them to go, not necessarily the best way, but
was that the one that you used to use arsenic to treat heartworm?
They still use arsenic. Yep.
Okay.
And I have opinion on that. I think physicians eventually gave up on leeches. I think the veterinary community ought to give up on arsenic. Give up on arsenic. Yeah. It's expensive. It's hard on the dogs.
Yeah, that sounds like I would not want to treat my dog with arsenic.
I'll take a lot of crap for this when this gets out. When this comes out, they'll be, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, if I've been doing this for 50 years and I treated 250 dogs a year to begin with, you can imagine.
That I'd have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
Right.
Yeah. This is always, this is like people pontificating about playing golf. They play golf 4 times a year. If you want to talk to somebody who plays golf 3 times a week, that's the person to talk to, not the one that plays 3. And that's really where we're at right now. I think there's a lot of inexperience. We don't see as many heartworm cases as we used to, so I'm not sure people are as familiar what would work, what wouldn't work, what works better than something else. Right now, they rely on some association to tell them what they should do. You should do this. The association says you should do this. That was always my thing. I had a partner, Dr. Gary Ellis, and he always says, well, the American Heart Society says this, so American Heart Society says that. So finally, I got kind of sick of listening to him tell me what I should be doing based on what somebody told him to do. So I signed him up one year. It cost me $35. And I'm not that loose with the dough, but I paid $35 to sign him up for the American Heart Society. So he was a member. Not only was he a member, but he was when we filled out his application, we made him a board-certified parasitologist.
Oh my God.
With a master's in this and a PhD in that. And that he'd had so much experience doing all these things. And we gave him a bunch of phony baloney props for what he'd done. Well, then
qualifications.
And he started getting this thing. And he says, what did he tell you? He says, I'm getting all this stuff from the American Heart Society all of a sudden. And I said, yeah. And he says, somehow or another, I'm a member of the American Heart Society. I said, yeah, we signed you up for that. I said, you'll probably be president next year because we gave you the sort of qualifications that would make you, they would want you to be their president.
Oh my gosh, you're such a dick.
Says, that's what he said. That's exactly what he said. He says, you're such a dick. And I said, yep.
Yep.
And 2 of us did it. Dr. Vernoisek and I both did it. We got tired of hearing him. And he wouldn't let up on us. So we actually formally told him, we're tired of hearing about this stuff. So he kept doing it anyway, that was his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
wouldn't let it go.
He was irritating. Anyway, yeah.
I'm sure you were irritating.
I'm sure I was too. And listen, he was a great partner, don't get me wrong. He's a really good guy. Everybody loved him. he's since passed, and
Yeah.
so I think about him all the time. But I'm bringing up his memory today in
Yeah.
a good way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we signed him up for that. Anyway, so if there's 1 million, let's do the math on this baby. If there's 1 million dogs that get diagnosed with heartworm, and everybody pays, let's just say $1,000. Let's say $2,000. What's 1 million?
Don't make me do mental math.
Yeah, well, 1 million times 1 million times $200,000 is a lot of money. Is a lot of money.
We have calculators on our phones.
Yeah, it ends up being, it's not $200 million, but it's 10 times $200 million, which should be $2 billion. So people are going to spend $2 billion treating their dog for heartworms. Is it preventable?
Yes.
Yes, very preventable, easy to prevent. The medications are extremely efficient, but we're still treating these guys.
Yeah.
And some of them are really sick. And can we save all of them? Well, let's go back to the Parvo dogs. Can we save all of them? No, we can save most of them.
Yeah.
Can we save all the heartworm dogs? We can save most of them. Yeah. I can't think of, I'd almost have to tell you it's been 10 years since I've had a dog or anybody in our place has had a dog that died from heartworms.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We pick them up really early. We do a lot of screening. We're very careful about that. There may be some in the community that don't seek out veterinary care, but so you're talking about, maybe I didn't get this right. Yeah, about $2 billion to treat heartworms in the United States of America with arsenic.
Okay.
Bless its heart. And there's other ways to do it that are just better. But I'm not going to go into that today. The whole point and the fact is there's 1 million dogs that get heartworm, 1.1 or something like that, and most people treat them.
Okay.
And it's hard on the dog.
What's the next number?
Yeah, what's the next number? 1 million.
A million dogs.
Well, the next number is 1 million dogs that get Lyme disease.
Okay. I would have thought that number was way higher.
Yeah, well, in certain parts of the country, it doesn't exist. It isn't as proliferating, but
a what?
Proliferating.
Proliferating.
Yeah, so you don't see that much if you're in Arizona, you don't see much. If you're in the Baja Peninsula, no, you don't see much there. But if you're going to be someplace up in Connecticut or Virginia or Maryland.
So it's mostly like a Midwest.
Yeah, and we see it a lot in the Midwest. And really, the heavy part here is just west of us in
East Coast
Wisconsin.
Type deal.
No, Wisconsin, west of us.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Minnesota.
What about in Texas? They don't see a lot of it in Texas?
See some of it in Texas. Depends upon the climate.
So 1 million dogs get Lyme disease.
Yeah. How many of them do we treat them all? If we're at the point now where we don't fuss around with it too much. We treat them all with doxycycline when we catch them. Tell people they need to be much more diligent in preventing ticks from getting on their dog.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other diseases, and I think there's going to be even more than what we know. They have this red meat allergy that's in the Lone Star tick.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see much of that yet in Michigan, but they see it in certain parts of the country.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yep, and then we've got anaplasmosis and Ehrlichia, which are also tick-borne diseases. And then the big one is Lyme. That's probably the most prevalent one. Do we treat them? Yeah. Is it really expensive to treat a Lyme dog? Nope, not all that bad. Probably, I'm going to guess. Well, I don't know. By the time you diagnose them, I doubt most people spend much more than $50 treating them.
Yeah.
It's doxycycline. It's generic. It's reasonably inexpensive.
Yeah.
Some people use other things, but most of us use doxycycline.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard on the dog. It's hard on the dog's stomach and stuff. They got the dosage at 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram twice a day for about 30 days. I sort of tear down to the lower edge of that because doxycycline's hard on your stomach.
Can really mess up the dog and not want to eat.
Yep. Well, they get sick to the stomach. They get indigestion. Well, your mother was on something for a complexion thing she had going on, and I bought her an expensive breakfast, and she smiled through the whole thing.
You bought an expensive breakfast?
Yeah, she wanted to go to someplace special, so we went there. And the special thing was when we left there, I still had mine in my stomach, but she didn't because she was taking doxycycline, so she promptly ate the whole thing, drank 2 cups of coffee, and threw it up, yeah.
Where was this fancy breakfast?
Oh, Elmer Road. What's the name of that?
Island Cafe.
Island Cafe.
Oh my God, that's not fancy.
Well, for breakfast. There is really no fancy breakfast places.
Yeah, the place I took you for our Christmas party.
Sure.
That's a brunch.
Yep.
Kitchen 600.
Yep. It's more of a restaurant that serves a brunch on the weekends. I think, yeah. But anyway,
fancy
so
brunch.
$50 times $1 million is $50 million.
Wait, is that how much it costs to treat it?
$50
bucks for pregnant. Okay.
$50 times
or
$1 million is
doxycycline.
$50 million. Yeah. So you have to retest them and you do a few things, and you can even do more of a workup and everything. I mean, you could run it into 100, 150. I don't know you could get much over $150 to treat a Lyme case. But anyway, so let's just say it's $50. It's $50 million.
Yeah.
So that's what people say. So we got what do we say? 2 billion versus 50 million versus what we say on the Parvo case.
I can't remember. You said $1,000 to $3,000 a piece.
Well, yeah, 1,000 times $1 million would be.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, that'd be $1 billion. Well, no, it was not $1 million. It was 300,000. So, what would that be? 300 million, I guess.
You got a calculator right there.
No, I'm not going to use it. 300 million at $1,000 and 600 million and more. But we have ways to treat them, and so now we got these three most common diseases
in dogs.
Yeah.
Wait, I have another question. I don't know if you have this number or not. I'm just genuinely curious. How much does obesity kill dogs?
Oh yeah.
How many obesity cases?
Well, let me just say this: it doesn't kill them in the sense that if you get Parvo and it kills you, it's because of the Parvo. Now, if obesity kills you because of the arthritis, and you were probably going to get arthritis anyway, you're just getting it 2 years earlier, and you should have gotten it.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Purina did that study. The dogs live almost 2 years longer thin than they do fat. Yeah.
I was just curious. That was just an honest curiosity because I remember when I worked at the clinic, a lot of dogs would come in overweight.
I don't know what the number on that. There's way more overweight than underweight.
Yeah.
And dogs are just like people. Nobody's happy with their weight. If you weighed 150, you thought you ought to weigh 151 or you ought to weigh 148.
I know
nobody's ever happy with what they weigh.
My dog's fat right now.
Yeah, I know. We've
Jader potato is turning into a large Yukon potato.
Yep.
A Yukon gold.
Yeah. Oh well. Your mother.
I know, because she said change your feeding guide.
What'd they say, for better, for worse? Yeah.
For fatter, for skinny.
Yeah.
For
riches, sickness and health. Anyway.
Yeah.
So now here's what I want to go with this. So now we figured out we got 2.4 million dogs getting the most common diseases we know as a pet owning society.
Correct.
Lyme, heartworm, and Parvo. And everybody, I think almost everybody, if you walk down the street, almost everybody knows what that is.
Yes.
And most people have some idea what it would cost to fix it. I'm not sure about the Lyme disease, but I think if you'd had Lyme disease, you probably knew you spent some money on antibiotics, but that's all you spent. Now, we're going to talk about what's my favorite thing to talk about?
Copper storage
disease. Okay, so we do the study, and we find out that 38% of the dogs, by the time they're 6 years of age or older, which is going to, let's take half the dogs out because they're young. They may still get copper storage disease, but they just don't have it quite yet.
We've talked to some people that their dog has died at 4 years old of copper storage disease. So it's not out of the question, but we're just, for the sake of this podcast, 6 years old and up.
Yeah, so you got 45 million dogs, and I think 45 million times 38%, that's how many dogs had stainable copper in their liver. So that's 17 million. And we're talking about 17 million dogs having this versus all the other diseases dogs get. I mean, it's really, I'm almost telling you it's comical because and here's why we don't diagnose it very often. To figure out heartworms, a $45 test. Figure out Lyme, a $45 test. Figure out Parvo, a $45 test.
$45 test, but
45,
to figure out
45. Sound
copper storage disease.
Sound like an auctioneer auctioning off diseases here.
Yeah.
45, do I hear? Yeah, but anyway, yeah. I hear 48. Anyway, maybe at some places it's 40, maybe some places it might be 88.
Someone's probably listening to this right now and they're like, damn it, I spent $80 to diagnose that.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole point, is for $45, you can figure out all these diseases.
Not copper storage disease.
There's no blood test for copper storage disease. You have to do
hopefully one day.
So just figure out what this would cost. Now, you can use your phone for this.
I remember, by the way, sidetrack conversation, when I was in math, in middle school, they said, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket.
Yeah, you're going to have one.
Yeah, we have one. That's incorrect.
So 17 million dogs with copper times $4,000. Here's what it would cost to diagnose every dog in America with copper storage that has it. $68 billion. So that's not going to happen.
That's like the whole pet food industry. I mean, not the whole, the U.S. dog food industry.
It's more than that. That's more than the dog food industry. It would cost you $68 billion if you were going to have copper. If you had a elevated ALT and you wanted to see whether your dog had copper storage and everybody had the money to do it, that's what the general public would spend. $68 billion. Now, what's always been my thing? Why in the hell are we not just preventing stuff?
That's right.
Nobody's going to spend this. The United States of America, the dog owning population is not going to spend $68 billion to figure out whether the dog has copper storage.
I did look up the dog food industry market.
The dog food market, I think, is around $50 billion.
The U.S. dog food market was estimated to be worth nearly $39 billion in 2025. Just the dog food market. Projected to reach $62.5 billion by 2031.
Yep.
A lot of people are getting dogs. That's crazy.
Well,
I feel like dogs are also
worst thing is it's going to cost you more to diagnose this dog than to feed them. And so the whole thing is, why are we not just feeding something that protects your dog from getting that? Because there are all sorts of people that are clients here at Voyager Dog Food whose dogs have copper.
A lot.
And they are angry as hell. I mean, they're not angry. They're really mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they doing this? What the hell do we ever do to the FDA? Right. Well, we never went up and crapped on their doorstep. I don't know why they're doing this to our dogs. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they're doing it to your dogs either. No. But so now the data's out. So anybody who's a client at Voyager, you probably already know that we've had 3 papers published in the AVMA journal. And guess what? Everything we told you was exactly true. It was more true than we thought it would be. Mm-hmm. We thought it wouldn't be maybe 38%, but it's 38%. Mm-hmm. And that's not a real large part of the dog population, but it's 104 dogs.
Do you remember Sandy Schaefer, the girl that came and brought her lab, Annie? So she called me today when we had a whole conversation. And I remember when I met her down at, I think it was an equine trade show that I went to. And she came up to me, and it was so almost comical the way that she came up to the booth, and she goes, I bet you don't know what copper levels are in your dog food.
I bet we do.
And I was looking at her, I'm like, is that a trick question? Because we're the only dog food without chelated copper. And she broke down and started crying at the booth and was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known about your company forever ago. And she told me about how her dog passed away, Missy.
Well, she did a
podcast. I don't know if anybody's listened to that or not. You can go back and look at it, Sandy Schaefer's podcast. But she lost her dog, and she said she spent thousands of dollars.
Well, that's
with
the story.
Referrals
So I talked to my friend Sharon Center the other day. She says there's a lot of people spent between $10,000 and $20,000 diagnosing and treating their dog for copper storage.
Hopefully a pet insurance.
$20,000. So now let's do that number. 17 million dogs times 20,000. That's a big number. $340 billion. That's if everybody who had a copper dog spent $20,000 cleaning them up. $340 billion. Absolutely not going to happen. But why are we even fooling around with this stuff? This is so ridiculous. I mean, if you just stop and think about it, I'm actually trying to point out how ridiculous this all is. Yeah. And I'm unfortunately, I'm afraid there's a lot of people think, well, this dude must be just making this crap up. No, I'm not making this stuff up.
No, we see it all the time.
We see it all the time.
And I mean, you can talk to any of our customers that have had dogs with copper storage disease. They will scream it from the rooftops how ridiculous this is.
$50 to clear up Lyme. Yeah. $20,000 to diagnose and treat
copper storage disease.
Maybe $10,000, maybe $20,000, maybe $15,000.
It all kind of depends on how far along the dog is, though.
Yeah, because you have to have them rebiopsied.
Put them on a specialty diet, the biopsy, the blood work. Yep. Because you're getting blood work all the time.
Monitoring.
The D-pen?
D-pen, yep.
D-penicillamine that you're putting the dog on.
Boy, if we had to use the real stuff, if we didn't have the compounded stuff, it'd be $3,000 a month for 5 months. So
I know. And then most of the time, people don't want to deal with this, so they're sending the dog to specialists to deal with, which is very unsettling just because how easy it is for a regular vet to do a biopsy, but they just don't want to.
Well, I don't like that. They're not comfortable doing liver biopsy.
But I will tell you,
nobody likes cutting into the liver because
No.
there's nothing to tie off.
no. But I will tell you, when I was down at VMX and I started talking to people about different vets about copper storage disease, a lot of them are like, I've never seen this in my clinic. I've never seen this in my clinic.
There were people who came in there and said, I see it all the time.
There were some people.
Yeah.
Some people.
So there were people who came in and said, I see this all the time. Well, if once you diagnose your first case, if you just, listen, if you set a goal for yourself to biopsy 5 livers this year, you'll have seen 2 or 3 of them. Anyway, probably. And guess what? It'll get easier next year. It'll get easier next year, and it'll get easier next year. I can smell them now. I mean, I'm doing blood work on the dog. You know, the dog's 4 years of age or 3 years of age. I'm doing a heart and wellness profile. ALT is 47. Yeah, that's good. Good for you. Next year it's 77, and then the next year it's 91. Well, guess what? Something going on here.
Yeah.
The liver's starting to get unhappy about something that's percolating there. So they're starting to get, this body's starting to get unhappy about it. Next year it's 129. Okay, now you got something.
But that was the funny thing, is talking to all these veterinarians.
Actually, there's nothing funny about any of this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I was talking to all these veterinarians. I was telling them about copper storage disease. Have you heard of it? Nope, never heard of it. Have you seen high ALTs? And almost all of them go,
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, all the time, man.
All the time. On
What's
every
the cause? And I don't know. We give them milk thistle and Sammy and...
Yeah. But almost all of them, I say, well, that's a sign of copper storage disease, the high ALT. And they're like, well, I just don't want to. I just think that if I saw a high ALT in a blood work, I don't think that that's alarm enough to send them out to do a liver biopsy.
So it could be, so here's what you would do. Here's what you normally do. You go ahead and treat them. If it's an injury, it'll get better in 30, 40 days. If it doesn't get better in 30, 40 days and it's even higher, well then, now you got a theme here. And you go back and look at it. 47, 77, 91, 132, whatever it is. It's on it. There's a theme here. We're on our way to this town over here. We're a lot further down the road than we were last year.
Let's turn it around.
Let's turn it around. Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, you can turn it around just by changing the food. You put them on something like...
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, put them on this dog food, recommend this dog food, and wait 6 months, retry the blood work and see if it goes down.
No, in fact, I like to do it every 3 months.
I was telling him every 6.
Yeah,
I figured there'd be a more drastic change over the course of 6 months.
Here's the thing. So if they come in, they got their ALT is like 311. Okay, that's fairly high. So I think you check it in 60 days after you've been on the dog food, and then another 60 days. Do we want to wait 6 months? Probably not. There's a time limit on this. Okay.
What if they're too far gone?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's really very much like heart disease. If you got heart disease, listen, your heart's in worse shape today than it was yesterday.
Right.
It'll be worse shape tomorrow than it is today.
Right.
So because this thing's getting older. Well, the liver's getting older. The nice thing about the liver is it has a chance to regenerate itself if it gets injured. So it can get all pissed off. You see this with people. They'll drink. They'll
Alcoholics.
have an alcohol problem, and then they
piss their liver off to the point of...
they may find religion. I don't know why they're going to do it, but all of a sudden they decide they're not going to drink anymore. And once they don't drink anymore, it all gets better, or a lot of it gets better. Although,
wait, I have a question. So Wilson's disease...
Same thing in people.
It's just the copper accumulation. Okay.
Well, it's just against the copper accumulation with cirrhosis. Yeah. Just exactly the same disease. With people, it's more genetic.
Than with dogs. Yeah. It's just because they're getting too much.
Well, the only people that really wouldn't have to worry about getting that would be the ones that are eating
copper.
Dog food.
I'm just kidding.
Dog food with a lot of copper in it.
Yeah.
Well,
do you think
dehydrated liver?
Let me ask you this: we have copper sulfate in like the powder form.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is probably a dumb question because it says all over the label, if you eat this, you need to immediately go to the hospital. But if I were to sprinkle a little bit of that in my coffee every morning, could I get Wilson's disease?
I don't think so. You'd have to take a lot of it in, but you'd eventually run into the point where you couldn't get rid of it as fast as you're putting it in.
Yeah.
You have the propensity to get rid of it. Dogs do. Just can't keep putting that much in.
Yeah.
They put it in their treats. Listen, I was at Horrocks today, and they got it in. There's a little green treat that we all know about, and anyway, the green treat has copper sulfate in it. The one that looks like a bone is copper sulfate in it. Why the hell those people are putting it in, I've got no idea. Unless they're, I have no idea why that is.
Yeah.
Unless they think there's.
We were filming some meta ads and we were flipping over treat bags and the guy's doing the filming, we're like, dang, it's in treats too. I was like, yeah, it's everywhere.
Stupid,
and there's no
stupid.
reason that it needs to go in because I don't think that there's any copper minimum for a treat.
No.
So why?
There's not. You're not supposed to put any in. There's if you're feeding like liver snaps and that sort of stuff. There's already so much copper in there. Putting more in is just like throwing kerosene on a grass fire. You know what I mean?
Stupid.
Yep. Well, I think I've ranted long enough on this.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you have to go.
I have to go
to an appointment. Yeah, so we're going to wrap this up.
Late. So I thought about this morning when I got up, and I thought maybe I haven't explained it appropriately. You know, so you're talking 1,333,000 adds up to 2.3 or 2.4 versus 17 million.
Yes.
So what? And we'd know what the 17 million dog disease was if we could diagnose it with a $45 blood test.
Yes.
Then it'd be easy.
That's right.
No $45 blood test. Maybe there will be sometime. Or
maybe someday. Maybe someday.
I got some friends of mine that are kind of working on that now.
That's good.
Yep. I hope they're good. I hope they're good friends. They're smart people.
Good.
And, I'm not going to take that on. Or maybe I will. I don't know.
I don't know. You decided to make dog food at the age of what? 69?
Yep. Boy.
Nothing's impossible.
Yep.
Well, we sure appreciate you guys listening with us today. And hopefully we've been able to share some good information that will help you love your animals as much as they love you. Don't forget, always treat the treatable, prevent the preventable, and we will catch you on the next one.
And do some math exercises so you can figure all this out on your own.
Exactly.
Without using
get your little calculator out on your phone.
Without your iPhone, that's right.
No, do it with your iPhone.
Yeah. Well, 1,000, you have to remember 1,000, thousands, a million.
Yeah. 1,000. Okay, well, you're a mental math person. I am not, okay?
I'm mental all right, but I'm not a mental math person, okay?
I can't believe the way you rattle out numbers. It's crazy.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
I see it.